All right, I'm almost done, guys. Almost done. Okay, our last but not least reader is Simone Waugh. Simone submitted to the open call for submissions for this reading, and after I read her first page of the story, I knew we had to have her, and thank God she said yes. Her bio is Simone Waugh is a writer, social media maven, and arts educator in Brooklyn, New York. You can view the stories of her relationship woes on www.saywaugh.com and on other platforms in the UK. She has performed her poetry on several stages across the United States and released her first book, Bubbles, Bath, Sex, and Hot Chocolate, filled with anecdotes and poetry about love and heartbreak in May of 2015. When she's not writing about relationships, she's spending time with her cat and favorite cuddle buddy, Lasagna. You can follow her on Twitter and Instagram at Moni Waugh. Let's give it up for Simone.
My story is called Dating Black Holes on Earth. Zodiac signs always seems to come up in conversations with my friends, family, and potential heartbreakers. I'm a Leo. Before the war begins, where one person can proclaim that their sign is more superior to everyone else, I insert a bit of knowledge. Every zodiac sign is assigned a planet. Leos, however, are the sun. Therefore, all the other planets revolve around us. If they still need to be convinced, I inform them that some of the greatest people to ever walk this earth are Leos. In our time, there's Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and the chosen one, Harry Potter. I used to gloat about this until my singleness made me ponder my place in this universe. I may be the sun in theory, and many of the other planets may depend on me for survival. But no one will ever get close enough to me because of the obvious issue of burning alive. Except in real life, people get close enough to feel my warmth, and I'm the one who gets burned while trying to fend off excessive amounts of debris floating around my aura, so to speak. My phone buzzed in my lap. No words, just an ellipses. 3 consecutive periods, a punctuation that addresses a void. For me, it meant that we were done 3 times over, but it was his way of addressing my silence. I hate how much texting has ruined communication until it becomes a convenient way for me not to communicate. We were sleeping in separate rooms for about a week. In a 1-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, that meant that one of us was sleeping on the couch and the other one was in the bedroom. Our place was set up in a way that someone would have to walk through the living room to get to any other place in the house. I gave him the bed. I wanted him to have to pass by me every time he made a move. He had to look me in the face every time he had to use the bathroom or get something to eat. He has to face me every time he left our apartment to see her. You never think that the boy who gives you the note that reads, "Will you go out with me?" with boxes that check for you to read, yes, no, maybe, and ew, I will never date you because you're not Idris Elba, would break your heart. He couldn't be capable of something like that. Heartbreaking was for bad boys, not teddy bears. That's what he looked like, a cuddly linebacker. And I was under the impression that his heart was just as big as his stature. Truthfully, I didn't even like him at first. He was cuddly but common. I was lusting after someone just as cuddly, but who was an upperclassman at our university and a poet. But after a year of waiting for one of his love poems to be about me, I finally gave in to the request of the man with the funny note. And now we were over because of a not so funny message she sent to someone else. The message he sent to her meant that there was absolutely nothing else he could ever say to me. And now I wish I held out for Idris Elba. Life is funny that way. When you break up with someone that you think is the one, you start to question the purpose of everything, especially when you were convinced that the purpose was to love that person until you died. But we both were alive, in theory. According to him, he never felt more alive. Never felt more alive. Never mind that I felt like I was dying inside and watching the life I built around him die as well. Our green grass was turning brown, and thanks to social media, everyone could see it. He wasted no time in posting his anecdotes about love and publicly counting the ways in which he loved her. My Facebook wall, however, was covered in posts about loving myself and inspirational quotes. It became clear that his loving rants had nothing to do with me when I dropped the hyphen from my last name. I was going to be a divorcee at the tender age of 25, single in a world where it meant that I could date a guy for years and still be asking, what are we? In a world where meeting a stranger on the street might just be street harassment, and meeting a stranger online means that you can get rejected several times before you even sit down with anyone for a first date. A world where monogamy only means something to teens you see sucking each other's faces off on the subway platform while waiting for a train that's a million years late. I formed a habit during those times of staring at the rats running around on the tracks, wondering if what they say about the third rail was true. When our living arrangement became unbearable, he had to leave. I didn't care that it meant that he would have to move into his mother's basement. He got a new girlfriend, and I got to keep the big TV. The endless hours of watching Bridget Jones's Diary with surround sound and no one around to judge me made it worth it. My friend suggested I take a break from dating. I decided that my soon-to-be ex-husband's spot needed to be filled as soon as possible. I wasn't a cat owner yet, so cuddling with humans was still necessary. I thought that the overseer of the universe was throwing me a bone when I met a cute guy on the train station a few weeks later. He was standing next to a teenage couple, making promises of forever in between long, sloppy exchanges of saliva. I took it as a sign that love wasn't dead. We flirted. I hesitated to give him my number, so he offered his. I took it and proceeded to go about my day. When I got a few feet away from him, he began to talk to another woman. He didn't ask for her number. He asked for change. Clearly, I read the signs of the universe wrong. And apparently, I couldn't tell the difference between a homeless guy and one of the guys who dressed in clothing that he was meant to be ironically and fashionably distressed. For the first time in a long time, I was dating no one. I felt like a stranger in a strange land. I looked at my phone, dry. I looked at my social media inboxes, dry. My friend said this was good. I said, single, what's that? Enter online dating, or the black hole as I like to call it. The last thing I wanted to do was pay to date all the wrong men. So I signed up for a free service where my friend seems to be having decent luck. I took my time to put together a well-rounded profile. I picked my best and most realistic-looking selfies and full-body shots. I put my geekiness in front and center, including my nerd glasses with no prescriptions. I touted the black belt I earned in Taekwondo. I made jokes about looking for the pinky to my brain so we could take over the world together. I was honest about watching more cooking shows than doing actual cooking. And I made it clear that I wanted to meet someone who I would potentially be able to have a serious relationship with. What I got was a bunch of men who said hey, or would send me hundreds of messages but never asked for a date. I had guys who would tell me that they live with their parents, have baby mama drama, or are currently looking for work, send me a list of requirements that I must reach before they decided to date me. I set up dates with men who text me when I'm on my way to our designated meeting spot to tell me that all of a sudden they had to babysit a distant relative. The ones who showed up insist on taking me to Coffee Bean when I was very clear that I'm a Starbucks kind of girl. I affectionately started to call this site OK Stupid. My finger hovered over the deactivate button when I got a notification that I had a message waiting for me. The part of me that's glutton for punishment decided to check it out. And there it was, a message from someone who actually read my profile. He complimented my nerd glasses. He challenged me to a ninja duel. He traveled to places that were on my bucket list. His suggestion for a first date was filled with Harry Potter references. Then he hints at starting a book club of our own one day. It turned out we both were in a long abusive relationship with Sally Mae and were looking for a better type of love. I went on to document the stages of obsession with him with the seamlessly perfect guy. Day 1. Message from a seemingly normal guy received. Witty, inventive, no grammatical errors. His profile pictures confirm that he is physically my type. Spends morning commute crafting the perfect response. I accept his ninja challenge. I fawn over his travel log. I insert some Harry Potter humor of my own, which includes suggestion that we toast our interaction while drinking from the goblet of fire. Send a response. Wait. Refresh dating app 50 times. End of day 1. He responds, he got my humor, we dig each other. More witty banter continues into the wee hours of the night. Day 2. The messages start early and never stop. I should be working and he should be sleeping since he worked the night shift. Since we might as well be texting, he sends me his number. Shamelessly visits his profile pic one more time so I can screenshot it and save it to my phone with his number. End of day 2. Text him asking about his day. I get testy about Domino's pizza, sucking my soul and expanding my waistline. He listens because he gets paid to take care about other people's problems. He tells me he's intrigued. I remind myself not to fall before he shows me a net. Day 3. Got a good morning text from a guy I wasn't interested in, wishing I got one from him. Telling myself not to reach out first. 8 a.m., nothing. 8:01 a.m., nothing. 8:33 a.m., nothing. 9:15 a.m., good morning. Sigh of relief. 3 p.m., he tells me he's tempted to taste the hot chocolate I keep talking about and asks when he can try it with me. Date confirmed by 3:15 for the following day. Late night FaceTime date scheduled for 10 p.m. 9:15, commences finding the right outfit and deciding if I should let my hair fall to the right side or the left side of my face. Decides to go with the right side. Props my iPad on my desk right under the lamp that makes me look like I'm walking around with a chrome Instagram filter when the light hits my face. 10 p.m., eyes connect, smiles in real time, we connect. Date number 1, Starbucks. I wear one of my sexy, artsy get-ups, just enough leg, not much cleavage, funky hat, cool boots, nerdy glasses. He walks in, smiles, falls in love with my Starbucks hot chocolate recipe. I decide that we have enough in common because we are both short, both wore Invisalign, and we both had iPhones. We talked until we built up an appetite. Continues date at an artisan pizza restaurant, reluctantly parts ways. Date 2, movies the next day. I stop paying attention to the movie because he holds my hand. He jokes that it's technically our 3rd date. Date 4, hookah. We dance, we puff, we vibe. He tells me he wants to get lost in my thoughts. Soft kisses under the street lamp. Date number 5, Twilight at my house. We keep it PG. He tries to understand what's so good about Edward Cullen. Date number 6, art show under the Brooklyn Bridge. There are stars, there are kisses, there are Starbucks. There's a stop for 2 glasses of wine parked in front of my house. Parked in front of my house, the inevitable questions are asked. Why are you single? His answers are generic. My answers are like word vomit. I was married before, I dated a few bad guys, I decided to be a little pickier. I talk until my mouth gets dry, denying that I have any scars at all from my past experiences. I can tell that I'm losing him, and so because I'm better with the written word than conversation, I insist on reading him a blog post about my ex. I attempt to assure him I no longer have feelings for this guy. He nods, he assures me that I sound normal. 3 days go by. The communication slows down because he has to work more hours. The communication only happens when I text first. Day 4 of awkward silence. I tell him that the vibe seems weird. I ask that he's straight up with me if his intentions have changed. His response is quick. We're okay, I'm just busy with work, he says. Sigh of relief. I begin to type a message expressing how happy I am that my bad feelings were wrong. I was getting giddy and wondering when we would see each other again. Before I can hit send, another message from him comes through. I think you're great. I think we should just be friends. I have a cat now, and the universe and I are barely on speaking terms. Thank you.